Again, good morning. Welcome to Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we know that nothing happens by chance, that everything is by divine appointment. It might look like it's a coincidence or it's by chance, but underneath the surface, we are guided and directed to where we need to be. It's so interesting about the signs and the symbols in our lives. And I was driving from Desert Hot Springs to Palm Springs, and I was on this particular, it's called Mountain View. And on the way back from Palm Springs, this amazing egret just went over my car and was just flapping its wings, giving me its blessing. And the egrets are a member of the crane family. And this energy of prosperity and good fortune and health and all of the wonderful things that the egret and the crane symbolize. So when we're in life and it looks like, oh, you know, this is nice and isn't that a coincidence? Nothing happens by chance. Everything in our lives is a divine appointment if we are consciously aware of presence. Our theme for the month has been Invisible Acts of Power. It's actually taken from Carolyn Mace's work, the book that she published, which is very deeply moving and very much correlated to the Science of Mind teachings that we embrace. And this is what I love about universal truth. You can find it anywhere. You can, though I see the drunk lying in the gutter and the saint kneeling at the high altar in ecstasy, I will see no difference, for each are expressing the one life in their own time. I receive a message and I do not judge outside of myself. Today's topic is about the gifts of health and aliveness. And it really is about being vital, about being in the world and having our experience and having energy, having life and having that sense that I am in my divine right place, doing my divine right thing right here, right now. And when we have that energy and we're feeling like we're in divine synchronicity with the universe, that it's unfolding for our highest and best good. And what I'm so interested in is when people have spontaneous healings. I've read many studies where someone has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. They've been given 6 months to live. I know one celebrity said that he had cancer and he was given 6 months to live. And he said, you know, and I couldn't pay the bill, so the doctor gave me another 6 months, right? So, you know, whatever that looks like. But the spontaneous healings that occur when someone has a life-threatening diagnosis, suddenly they look at their life in a way they have never quite looked at it before and realized that they were not even living their life. They were going through the motions. And suddenly they put into place and begin a whole new energy field of expressing themselves and doing what they love and loving what they do. And our cells respond to that. They love it when we're happy, when we are doing what we love and putting that energy out into the universe, and that we arise to that energy field. Our humanness gives way to the divine, and the Christ consciousness arises triumphant and victorious. Now, when we speak to the life force within us, the life force responds. I love the story of Lazarus, who was pronounced dead for 3 days. They went and got Jesus, and they kept, trying to get his attention. It took him 3 days to get there. And Mary and Martha, the sister of Lazarus, they were very upset, and they were crying, and they said, we called you, and you didn't answer. And they were grief-stricken, and they were angry at Jesus. And Jesus said, well, just a moment, please. So he went into the cave, and Lazarus had been dead for 3 days, pronounced dead. And he just raised his hand, and he said, Lazarus, come forth! And spoke to the life force within Lazarus. And Lazarus came forth. This is known as one of the great miracles, that he arose to whatever that was, that energy field. And when the life force was spoken to, the life force responds. And out of that death experience, rebirth occurred. And if you study any, and especially Dr. Moody's work of people who have had near-death experiences and pronounced dead on the operating table, In fact, our Dr. Roger Bamanek, who is a hospice chaplain, said that he was in a room and the doctor had come in and done the pronouncement. And he said he just had a feeling to stand there, and he stood there and just sent love to this man that has just been pronounced dead. And suddenly, he said, and slowly, the man opened his eyes, and he said to Roger, "Thank you for staying and praying for me." And it was such, Roger said, it was such a miraculous experience. And 4 years later, we were at our church service at the Camelot, where we met for 14 years. And this man came up to Roger, very nice looking man, well dressed, and he said, "You're my angel." And Roger said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You're my angel. I'm the man that was pronounced dead in intensive care, and you stood and prayed over me. And I came forth." And as he sent that love energy, this man who had other work to do. See, when we've got other work to do, we don't move on. One old gal, she was 105 years old, and she's looking in the paper, and she's looking at the obituaries, and she says to her son, "Look at all these younger people, they're dying, and I'm 105 years old, and I'm still here. Why is that?" And the son said, "Well, I guess the good Lord just had more work for you to do, Mom." And she thought for a moment, she said, "Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm done doing the work." So we can make that choice as well. But when we have other work to do, when we have immortal longings, we're going to move on. When we have other work to do, we're going to stay. And we're going to allow it to unfold. So the invisible acts of power is the energy that we put out into the universe. The gifts of health and aliveness is making a decision that while we are here, we are here. And that whatever it is we need to work through to get to that little happy place within us, that we're going to do the work. Because it's out of our weakness that we find our perfect strength. And we keep letting go and letting God do what God does best. And when I feel, some little feeling will come up, or some little, perceived injustice or whatever, I have learned just to look at it and say, I didn't realize that was still there. I release it. I let it return to its native nothingness from whence it came, because I'm not going to give that power over how I feel today. I'm going to stay at peace within myself, rather than entertaining and churning around all the things that we could say and woulda, coulda, and shoulda. Let it go. It's not worth our peace of mind. It's not worth giving our power away to something outside of us. It's about being unified within ourselves. There is a story about a group of brothers that never got along. And they were always bickering and fighting, and they were angry. And the father, no matter how he entreated them to please get along, your brothers. I mean, this is so important in our family structure. And it just didn't work. So one day, he got the idea to bring his sons together, all 5 of them. And he said, "I'd like you to gather some wood for me, some sticks, a nice bundle of sticks." And so they went about gathering the nice bundle of sticks. And he said to each one of them, "All right, now I would like you just to take the bundle and break it. And now make 2 bundles." And then as hard as they tried, they wouldn't break, they wouldn't break, they wouldn't break. He said, "Very good. Now take out 1 stick from the bundle and break it." So they took out the 1 stick, they broke it. He said, "Very good." He said, "Alone you can be broken, but together you cannot. When you are in unity, and you're standing in your solidarity, you cannot be broken. My sons, come together in peace. Love one another. Come together and feel the energy of unity. And together, as Helen Keller said, we can do so much. Alone, we can do so little. And when we understand that, and we live from that place, then within ourselves, when we feel, downtrodden, and we feel those feelings of depression starting to come upon us, that we can just be still and know and sit with it and see, what is this really about? And many times it's always about the past. And to bless it and learn from it and release it and let it go, returning to its native nothingness. And to be in the world is to live our lives in such a way that it makes a difference. And I really feel at the deepest level that we make a difference when we are coming from that place of peace and knowingness and letting everything else go. Because the truth is, it is neither person, place, nor thing, is it? It's the energy we put on the people and what they said and how they treated me and what I could have said. You know, it's not people, places, or things, but it oftentimes looks that way. In fact, I had someone that was moved away for 7 years because, you know, Palm Springs was just not the place to be because there were so many negative things that happened to him. And what he realized when he moved away for 7 years, it wasn't about the place. It was about his attitude toward the place and the things that occurred within him and in his life during that time. And when he got that, he moved back, happier than ever, more productive than ever, more creative than ever. So I love how that works. When we make the decision that I'm taking responsibility for my life, my happiness, my good feelings, and realizing that this invisible act of power that we put out is the energy of love that penetrates anything unlike itself. I was so deeply, deeply moved by the people of New Zealand that formed a human chain around the mosque so that the Muslims could go in and worship without any fear of something happening to them because they want to worship Allah, their God, in their own way. In our way of life, we embrace all beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. We are all one. That red blood courses through all veins. And through this oneness do we live and move and have our being. Let us form that human chain as the brothers did. To acknowledge that we are here together, we are part of the human family, that we have a right to be here, to live our lives in such a way that they do make a difference. And there is no large and small in the one mind that knows all. So even the smallest act of love and kindness makes a difference. I was in the beauty salon and the other day, and a little group came in of about, I would say, five young people, the teenagers, and they began singing songs. And they said they were raising money for the orphans in Africa, and they had little brochures. And they sang in English and in Spanish, and they were just a darling little group of kids. And of course, I was the only one that came over to really ask, and of course, I must have that look on my face. So I said I would like to be even more generous, and I gave them a donation and told them how much I enjoyed their singing and how they uplifted the energy when they came into the salon. And someone in the salon, after they said, "Oh yeah, right, they're gonna, this is for the Africans," I said, "You know what? If it's for the Africans or it's for them, I have no thoughts about it or no judgment on it, because they came and brought joy. And joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. And any kids that are coming in and they're singing, they deserve to be acknowledged." I thought it took great courage and there was a light about them. So when we come together with these invisible acts of power, whether it's singing a song, whether it's acknowledging that we're going to form a human chain around each other, we're going to love each other in such a way that we have never loved each other before. We're going to acknowledge that we grow through our differences and we gather together through our similarities. And when we understand this amazing paradigm, that we begin to really feel energy and vibrate at a higher frequency. And when we vibrate at a higher frequency, none of these things move us. All this outer stuff, none of this outer stuff moves us. Because we are speaking to the life force within ourselves, and if we need to stand and look in the mirror and say, "Come forth right now," and speak to the life energy within us, then that's what we need to do at that moment. If we need to reevaluate our lives because we've had a cancer diagnosis, we reevaluate our lives. And we begin to do what we love and love what we do. The gifts of health and aliveness are doing what we love and loving what we do and allowing that energy to go forth in such a way that everyone and anyone who comes within our energy field is healed and uplifted in our presence. This, I believe, is why we are here. So today, when we make that decision to heal our lives, to look at what's working and looking at what's not working, and if it's not working, then it's not serving us, it's not serving others. Then we need to go within and to reevaluate and stop judging outside of ourselves. And it's not about, setting the record straight either. It's about giving the benefit of the doubt and letting everything else go. So today, it's our opportunity upon each of us to come together in unity, to come together in bundles that cannot be broken, because the very foundation is love. Behold, I give thee this commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved thee. That is the only commandment that really Jesus ever gave. And I will say those that are following Jesus, who became the master teacher through his humanness giving way to the divine, it's about love, regardless of color, race, creed, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. It's about love. So this day, let us make that amazing vow to ourselves and to one another and to really the world, that we're going to operate from the space of love. And when we do that, where do we go? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Because we are in a high place and we will not come down. None of these outer things move us. I say to you, namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you. Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding in this beautiful Lieberman Chapel. And God bless us, everyone who heard that call and answered here today. And just know that you are loved and that we are going higher yet. And so it is. Thank you.